Viva Physical Media, episode 97.
That's right.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
You know, we don't want to. We talk about our 100th episode a lot, and Emily's not here to talk about it right now. But we don't know what we're going to do for that 100th episode. However, in the early part of July, I believe July 5th, we are going to be having a screening at the Beacon. So get ready to see the screening of The Hitcher, my second favorite horror movie of all time, July 5th at the Beacon at 7 p.m. That's all we're going to say about that. We're going to let Emily hype it up the next time when she comes back for the next episode.
Hell yeah.
Emily is at SIFF tonight. She couldn't be here, so he brought the Ghost of Christmas Past. As you see before me, Kevin Vesuvius Clarke is here to join me.
Hi.
Original host of Viva, now returning host
That's right.
of Viva.
Yeah, returning with a vengeance.
Yeah.
I guess.
How do you feel?
How in general?
Sure.
Pretty good. I mean, pretty good. Yeah, pretty okay. You know, down in Hollywood, living the dream.
Hollywood?
Hollywood, California.
La La Land?
La La Land.
Tinseltown?
All of those names. Yeah, there's tinsel everywhere. It's actually a huge problem.
Hollyweird?
No, don't call it that.
All right.
Fuck off.
Send us your mailbags.
Yep.
Viva at scarecrow.com, 5030 Roosevelt Way Northeast, Seattle, Washington, 98105. Send us pictures of your pets. Tell us what you're watching. Ask us your questions. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
We rely on the community support and donations from viewers like you to keep the show flowing straight into your eye holes. And forgot to mention this the last episode, so I'm going to do it now. If you are watching this, if you were within the sounds of our voices, hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything more. It's free 99. The more people that the algorithm puts this show in front of, the more people are going to watch and love it. And that means more Viva goodness for you.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's get on with the show.
Let's do it. My pick for today is not a movie, but a TV series that I just finished my third go through.
I'm just starting my second go through of it.
Right, and you actually, it's funny because you inspired me to start it again.
And you've beaten me. I'm only in season 2.
Well, it's like that thing because you're watching it with.
I'm watching with my partner.
Yeah, and I'm watching it by myself, so I had a lot more time to just watch 10 episodes a day. So the last couple weeks, I watched again Friday Night Lights. Here we go, all 5 seasons.
One of my favorite shows too.
One of the greatest shows of all time. And before I get too far, I just gotta do this real quick here.
Oh yeah.
We are a house full of hearts can't lose.
Good advice, people.
If you're a fan of the show, you'll know what this means. If not, go become a fan of the show. So Friday Night Lights is a TV series that Peter Berg developed based on the movie he made, based on the
Buzz Bissinger.
Buzz Bissinger, thank you. The movie was really great. It's one of my favorite sports movies. Billy Bob Thornton plays a coach in this small Texas town. It's all based on this guy, this author spent like a year in this Texas football town. If you don't know, football is huge in Texas, high school football particularly.
Good morning, West Texas. Slam and Sammy Mead coming at you with Panther Football Radio. 470 AM on your dial. It's Monday morning. And we all know what that means. Only 4 days till Friday night.
Yeah, so he spent a year there hanging out in this town, and they made this movie. And the movie's great, but Peter Berg, I think he always wanted to tell more stories or whatever. So he's like, let's develop that into a TV series. And I think the TV series is way better than the movie, and it is the example of TV series where, by being a TV show, it allows this town to breathe. It's basically, the first season follows a similar plot as the movie. This coach.
How you doing, Coach? Tommy Haskins,
Tommy.
NBC Sports.
Welcome.
How's it feel to be head coach after what? How many years?
6 years it is.
Coach Eric Taylor, has coached in that town before, but is just as his first year as the high school coach, is coaching this team, and everything in this town rides on whether or not these boys win state or go to state or how the football team goes.
Are you going to be able to answer the bell and bring championships back to this town? We want to win championships.
It's that kind of poisonous culture and the show explores that. It's not, the show doesn't really shy away from that, although it does, extol the virtues of the sport and stuff. It also is like, man, these people are obsessed with high school football, what these high school boys are going to do and how well they're going to do.
Have you ever blitzed an older woman? You could,
in the first episode, a tragedy happens, which I guess I won't go into if you haven't seen the show. It's a show that was underwatched, is still underwatched. I know that because I did some days on a TV show with Kyle Chandler, who played Eric Taylor in this, stars in, and I feel like I was the only person who's excited that Kyle Chandler is in the fucking room. I'm like, oh my god, that's
King Kong's
like,
Kyle Chandler?
That's what people, they're like, oh, he's in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, yeah, he's in Wolf of Wall Street, and one of the best fucking TV series ever made. He's the goddamn star.
You're a good man.
Anyway, that's what I didn't yell it at him, but that's what I felt.
You should
like
have.
saying. That's what I felt like saying. It was just great to hear. He's like, 10 feet behind me saying dialogue. I'm like, oh my god, this fucking Coach Taylor, I love it. Meanwhile, I was like on the set of that, and then I went home and watched like 4 episodes of this. So I guess I'm a fanboy. Anyway, tragedy happens the first episode, and it kind of throws off the, how are they going to win or whatever. One of the things that this show. It's weird because you watch the show. My favorite character in it is a character, Landry Clark, played by Jesse Plemons.
Baby Jesse Plemons.
I don't eat with football players.
You know, I'm not a football player.
And I don't eat with you either.
No problem.
It's funny because this show has a bunch of people that nobody else became super famous.
Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, Michael. Well, yeah, later. In the first,
He's not in the first 2 seasons.
couple, he's not in the first 3 seasons. But like they tried with Taylor Kitsch, who played John Carter. I wish he'd been famous. But there's all these great characters, and then Taylor Kitsch plays a character, Tim Riggins.
Here's to God and football. And 10 years from now, Street, good friends living large in Texas. Texas forever, Street.
Texas forever.
It's just full of these great performances by these kids, and the way they shot the show was like they would just have like these 3 roving cameras around, and everybody, whenever you hear interviews with these people, these kids, this was a lot of these guys was their first show that they'd done, their first movie or whatever, and they were like, we got spoiled because like they were like, we didn't have marks, we just got to sort of go in there and play, and then I went and worked on a different movie, and they were like, no, you have to do this and this and this. I'm like, oh fuck, that's not how we did it for like 5 years of my life on Friday Night Lights, and it follows them. Each season of the show generally follows them through a season of football, whether they get to state, don't get to state. As it gets into like the last couple seasons, there's been some shakeups at the school, and that's where Michael B. Jordan comes in. Again, like he was a guy, I knew him from The Wire, but this was when I watched this, I'm like, oh damn, that guy's gonna be a fucking movie star.
Yeah.
Vince,
Vince,
you ever playing football?
me all the time.
Yeah?
Madden.
How's that?
Madden.
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 It's a video game, Coach Madden.
Oh.
All these characters that are like, for me, are like friends. It's a great kind of TV show where you keep coming back because it builds this world that you want to spend time with these characters. The core of the show, though, is Kyle Chandler and Connie Britton as Coach Taylor and Mrs. Coach Taylor.
And she played Billy Bob's wife in the movie,
She
but it's a
did.
different character.
She did, yeah. But she played Billy Bob's wife in the movie, and it was Coach's wife. And I saw an interview with her where she talked about how Peter Berg was like, I'm sorry that so much of your stuff got cut out of the movie or whatever. And so when he asked her to do the show, she was like, I don't know, this is going to be the same kind of thing.
I know. Your job is really stressful.
Look, Tammy,
you know
I don't
what, honey? I'm doing it, all right? I threw the party for over 100 people in 2 days' time. I did it with no help, and I'm cleaning up after your football stars, who, by the way, happen to be pigs. I'm doing it, but I'm not going to pretend to like it. Not right now. Not down here. When I go back up there, I'll give you a big smile, all right? Just like I know you need. But down here, I am pissed.
And so she made him assure her that, like, no, she's going to be... And it's the kind of couple it's very aspirational, this show. You really want it to be. You want them to be your parents.
Yep.
You want them to be your coach.
Next.
Watch out, she's a little pissed off this afternoon.
It also has one of the best endings of any TV show. They kind of they got like a deal because NBC sort of was like, we like this show, but we don't know what to do with it. And they got to deal with DirecTV at the time, so they were allowed to like show their episodes, and they were kind of like, well, you can wrap it up in these 2 seasons. And so they kind of were allowed to do an ending, and it's one of the most perfect endings. Less said about season 2, the better. It was a season after the first one. The network was like, you need to zazz it up a little, and they
I just started watching it.
They certainly did in a very bad way. for some of the characters, and it's funny how they just sort of, and it was a strike season, so it's a short season of the show.
It ends, and then they're just like, let's forget about that season.
They kind of just go, so, if you are going to watch this for the first time, don't worry, forget about season 2. I was texting Matt when this was out. It was around the time the White Lotus was ending, and everybody on the internet was losing their minds because they haven't seen a TV show before, and they were like, oh my God, so sad. Oh, it's heartbreaking. And this is like at the end, the season finale of this. And I'm like watching Friday Night Lights at the same time. And every fucking episode is breaking my heart 5 different times in an episode. And I'm like, fuck you guys. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch all of these. You're going to fall in love with all these guys. It's also the kind of show that I think you might need right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show that is very empathetic towards people, and it might even make you go like, hey, look, we can all hate Texas for their, whatever they're doing, but in a way, don't we all want Texas forever? Friday Night Lights, Clear Eyes, Full Hearts, Can't Lose.
Do you think God loves football?
My pick this week is 1977's kind of forgotten Seijun Suzuki film, A Tale of Sorrow and Sadness. This was sort of not in his sort of comeback period, but he was having trouble getting work because Suzuki was a sort of notorious renegade. He did whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And he got hired to make this, and apparently, pissed off people making it as usual. However, it's one of my favorite of his films, and it's a little underseen. This brand new Radiance Blu-ray looks fabulous. It's always been kind of a not easy to see movie. I'm always hyping the Radiance movies as well. They are a great boutique label to put a lot of really cool stuff. This is about a fashion company that's sort of teamed up with this magazine, and the fashion company needs to sort of realign their marketing. And so they team up with this fashion magazine, and they pick one of their models, and they decide that they're going to turn her into like a golfing sensation.
プロポーションは悪くないな。
カラフルに行く？サバイバルかなんか。ビーチウェアじゃおかしいかしら。
水着でゴルフね。
The first part of this movie is they pick this model and they're training her to be an expert golfer. And they put her through this like grueling course of just constant golf training to the point where she's like harming herself. Also, incidentally, her manager is played by the good guy samurai dude from the 1995 movie The Hunted that I talked about on this show many episodes ago. There's just something about a mulleted Japanese man with oversized aviator shades that there's just something really cool about that. So Reiko is our heroine, the model Reiko, and yeah, she becomes a very skilled golfer, and in her first tournament, she beats the far more experienced, senior lady golfer. And to the surprise of everybody, including some of the other golfers that are like, you should reel it in. It's not a good idea to beat the champ like right away. It's disrespectful. She like goes so hard in this golf tournament that as soon as she hits the winning shot, she passes out. There's a great scene where she's confronting the champion and she's like, I am the ball. The ball goes wherever I will it to go. Pretty cool. Anyway, she becomes an overnight sensation because of this. Becomes very, very famous. She's doing all these TV appearances. The clothes are selling like crazy. People are stealing the posters off the walls. The fashion company is thrilled with how everything is going so well. But now that she's famous, like everybody wants a piece of Reiko.
人の相手を盗んでいるコムタは君も見下げ果てたやつだな。どう言われようと構わないんですよ、私は。
Including her crazy, obsessed neighbor. One night, after some partying, Reiko and her manager are driving home, and they hit the neighbor lady with their car. And the manager is like, we're just gonna hit and run her. It's not a big deal. Reiko is like, no. What if she's hurt? We really have to go back and save her. But the manager's like, no. The neighbor lady shows up at Reiko's house and starts to blackmail her. And now the movie has turned into a completely different story. Yeah. Where about these two women who are like they're not locked in mutual enmity, but there's like some kind of dangerous romantic obsession between them that spirals eventually out of control and involves, like, you know, other members of their family and friends. Also, Reiko has a younger brother who's like a burgeoning incel who's having like a fantasy romance with an imaginary neighbor kid. And eventually it all spirals completely out of control. The most impressive thing about this movie is how gorgeous it is. Suzuki was, you know, like I said, a notorious renegade and a very, very heavy visual stylist. Almost every composition of this movie is just gorgeous. There's all kinds of strange uses of color, negative space. The framing is just constantly immaculate. There's also, in addition to how good it looks, there's also this very overt critique of consumerism and of the way women are forced to compete with each other by a society that basically only values their looks and their chastity. It's one of the strangest things I've ever seen. I am not super familiar with the sports strain of Japanese drama. There's a bunch of anime about different sports. There's a bunch. Yeah. There's, you know, it's like a whole subgenre of Japanese filmmaking, and this is one of the sort of only examples I've seen of it. It's also one of my favorite Seijun Suzuki movies. It's very, very strange. It's very sexy. It's very unpleasant. It's beautiful.
It's got golf,
and it's got a lot of golf. So if you're up for something truly strange, truly unique, you should definitely check out A Tale of Sorrow and Sadness. Time for our dog movie.
Hey.
You picked this one.
I did, yeah. When you told me to pick a dog movie, I was like, oh no, because I also, since I live in a different city now, and you were like, pick the dog. I want, you know, I want. It has to be something that is available at Scarecrow, so I couldn't just go like, sure, I'll find one, and then later on, so I found one. But it was actually a documentary that, again, our friend Brian Saar had recommended to me years ago. So I'm knocking some of these documentaries off the list. But yeah, it's a movie called Truffle Hunters.
2020.
I love this movie. I thought it was great.
It's really good.
It's these truffle hunters.
These old grouchy Italian dudes.
Old Italian dudes hunting for truffles in the forests in Italy, and it's pretty. I mean, it's what do you call this kind of a documentary? Fly on the wall. You know, it's not like.
I mean, it's mostly observational. You just listen.
Yeah.
There's no talking heads.
Yeah.
There's no interview segments. You see the people in conversation with each other.
Yeah.
Ha detto che adesso è più ma che ha più masmaga non è meschino. Non è dita del tifo bere.
Aspetta un minuto. Am teast eu, ne? Mir war teast, ja, suta 2-3 piante.
It's just observational. Yeah. It is just sort of dropping in, checking out these guys.
But you learn a lot about how truffle hunting works and why, like, truffles are very expensive. They're hard to find. Yeah. And sort of about how the business works. There's a little bit of a black market.
Yep.
Ma mi siete voi lì, Fosnelli, tu sai?
Bevo molti pezzi basta. E tu sai, t'han detto, no?
The guys are very territorial about where they've staked out their places to go hunt for their truffles.
Ti erano poche volte che ti sconfini dal tuo territorio.
Ma hai ragione, però la stessa cosa ai favogliati.
No.
Some of these old guys are like, I wouldn't even tell my kids where I hunt for truffles if I die.
Yeah, this one guy's like, this guy's trying to get where you might die. You're old, so you're gonna die someday. So we need to know where
you're looking for truffles.
Where's your truffle stuff? That's gonna be lost when you die. And he's kind of like, well,
yeah.
I don't know.
And the one guy goes like, if you had kids, you'd tell your kids.
I
liked because it juxtaposes, of course, like these guys who are like these old dudes who, you know, they're living, but they're like living out in the country. You know, they're not like
it's rustic.
They're not
Let's
rich.
put it that way.
It's rustic with like where the truffles end up at these like, you know, high class restaurants and, you know, rich people bidding on them and shit.
Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure. Hong Kong has never lost this It's 800.
No.
So, you know, it's a little bit, although I don't think it hammers that point home too hard. It's sort of just showing the two worlds. Importantly, all of these guys have dogs.
Guai col tuo cane bravo, perché bisogna avere, perché bravo o meno bravo, però se hai un cane bravo, Tu se non dai fiducia al tuo cane, non andare per tartopi.
Yes, that because the dogs help them hunt for the truffles.
Yeah.
My favorite parts of this movie are when they just strap a GoPro to the dog and it's
Yeah.
just like hunting and digging holes and stuff.
There's one great shot where the dog is like shaking and you like and the GoPro's on it, so it's just like the camera's just going.
Wait, how's it go? You know, these old guys, none of them seem to be married. They don't have like any kind of.
No, the one guy is
Well,
married.
guy's married.
The one guy's married and his wife is like, you have to stop truffle hunting.
Carlo! Carlo! È notte! Devo andare sempre con questi tartufi che ce l'hai nella testa. Stai un pochettino a casa, e di notte specialmente.
You have to stop truffle hunting, and I don't. Oh, I'm gonna. So stop listening right now, and then start listening because she's harping on him not like truffle hunting the whole movie because he's old, and he's even at the doctor at some point, and he like ran into a stick and it, like cut his face open, and he's like, the doctor's like, maybe you shouldn't go truffle hunting at night anymore or whatever. The last shot of the movie is fucking him like. Him sneaking out of the window. Yeah. His dog is chained up outside, and his dog is super excited because they're going truffle hunting. It's fucking middle of the night. So you have a list of the names of the dogs, and because I can't remember all of them.
Burba, Beery, Charlie, Fiona, Nina, and Yari.
Yeah. And there's one dude who has like 3 dogs, and then the other ones all just have the one dog. But I don't know.
The thing that bothered me the most about this, it knocked it down a bit for me, was that the people poison these dogs.
Yeah, but it wasn't the filmmakers.
No, not at all. I'm just saying, like, when Sergio was yelling at the cop, going like, they poisoned one of my dogs,
yeah,
I got upset.
Although it seems like that dog did live.
Yes.
It's unclear. Honestly, by the end of the movie, it was unclear to me who was doing the poisoning. If
I thought it was like competitors.
That's what I thought too. But they don't ever. The movie, since it's sort of just observational, it's not like exploring that. You don't ever.
Anyway,
nobody goes like, it's these guys.
If you're out there poisoning dogs, fuck you.
Don't do that.
But I thought this was really sweet.
Yeah.
And obviously these dogs, I love, like you're saying, when the guy's climbing out of the window at the end and his dog is so stoked. Like, I love that the dogs are just like totally into it. There's one of those GoPro shots where it's the guy Sergio who's talking about how his dog got poisoned, that guy. And he's like in his shitty car.
Yeah.
Pulling up to his spot where he goes and gets out and does the truffle hunting. And the GoPro's attached to the one dog, and the dog is like really, really excited and anxious.
Inside the car.
He's inside the car, but he lets the other dog out first.
Yeah.
And so the one that we're attached to is like all barking and crying until he gets let out, and then he just takes off.
It's great too because you don't at first it's unclear a little bit at first, like what's going on? Yeah. Why is the camera still in the car, and why is it, and you're like, oh, and then you're like, oh fuck, that's strapped to the dog, and then the dog goes off and it runs up to the other dogs and it's like
and it's jumping over stuff, and it's really cute.
It's real. I mean, it's I love this movie and what it was about, but I'm almost like, I kind of want to hold GoPro.
Yeah.
I want a whole movie of just the GoPro dog. Like, let's do that. Come on.
I think that'd be great.
Come on, someone do that. But there's also the one guy who's constantly talking to his dog. I think that's Birba.
That's Birba.
And he's constantly talking to his dog about how he needs to find a nice woman.
Sai cosa ho pensato? Sai cosa faccio? Se trovo qualche scalmanata, perché le donne, sai, ce ne sono delle brave, ma rare.
He's this old guy, and he's like, I need to find a woman. He's going through.
He's the guy who won't. He's the guy who's like, I wouldn't tell my kids.
Yeah, but he's like, I gotta find a nice woman because I'm gonna die soon. But
somebody
needs someone to take care of you. When he's telling his dog, meanwhile is like sitting on the table while he's eating food, and he keeps going like, no, get away from the food.
I also like
now you can have this.
The other guy who sings to his dog while he bathes him.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Passata al Valentino col biondo studentino che mi stringeva sul cuore. Gli studi sono già terminati.
It's just funny. It's also funny. This old guy's like going through the list of women in town, and you're like, and we never see these women, but you're like, you're very old. Like, what's your plan here? Are you rich and we can't tell?
Those Italian guys party till they're burger, I'm telling you.
It did make me want to, it did like reignite some some part of me that was like, yeah, I think I could live off the grid with a dog. You know, just like
on the nickel.
That sounds fine. No.
Oh.
No, not on the nickel, off the grid.
Oh.
You know, just in a rustic, like these guys are living, where it's kind of like,
okay.
It doesn't seem so bad.
Right,
You know, it's not like, no, I don't want to live in Skid Row with or without a dog.
A place so horrible, it's on the map.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. I don't want to live there. But like where these guys live, where they kind of go out in the woods and hunt truffles and then just sort of sit in their dilapidated country homes in Italy. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I don't know. That's a dream right there.
How many paws would you give this?
I give it 3.5 paws.
I'm going to give it 3. I would have given it 3.5, but I felt bad for the poison dog.
I mean,
it's not the movie's fault. It just put me off.
It's just what happens.
Yeah, I know. It just makes me sad.
Yeah,
makes me too upset.
Anyway,
very good movie. Excellent choice.
Bullshit cowards. That's what. Both of you.
We don't have a pick for the next episode because Emily's not here to help us choose.
No, so you're gonna just have to fucking be surprised.
To find out what we're gonna do.
You're gonna have to freaking be surprised. Can you swear on the show still?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if this was a fucking family affair or some bullshit now, but I'm gonna fucking swear.
Jeez.
Anyway, you're gonna have to wait till the next fucking episode and be fucking surprised to see what the goddamn motherfucking dog movie's gonna be. It's not gonna be some bullshit. I can tell you that.
We did get some email about all the swears.
Oh, that's fucking right. That was a while ago, though. That was quite a while ago. Yeah. All right. Sorry about all the swears. Rich will bleep half of them.
No, he won't.
Everybody gets to swear.
Yeah.
Even better. Watch Truffle Hunters, though.
That's it, episode 97. Thanks to my gracious co-host Kevin Clarke for filling in so that we can make more Viva for you. Remember to vote for Rom versus Rom. The contenders were, what'd you have?
Career Opportunities.
Right, and I had No Small Affair.
Yeah.
Remember to vote. It's very important that you vote.
Yeah.
Remember to smash that like button, like and subscribe. Send us your mailbags. Donate to Scarecrow. Check out our screening at the Beacon, July 5th, The Hitcher, 7 p.m. And until next time, Viva Physical Media.
Yeah. Do it.
Do it.
Vediamo cosa spendo ancora questa sera, domani mattina, perché sai che qui tutti i giorni il prezzo può cambiare. Allora,
cerca
non
di
posso
trattarmi bene, sono tuo amico, da tanti anni vengo a comprare il tartufo e tu mi castighi sempre. No, ma è meglio un amico che mi castiga che un nemico.
Sì, claro.